Okay. All right, the name of the person being interviewed is Aaron Augustus. Aaron, when is your birthday?
April 19th, 1941.
Okay, and what is your current address?
7395 Willow Springs Circle East in Boynton Beach, Florida.
Okay. And my name is Carlton Cartwright. We're at the Children's Coalition Incorporated. I'm the CEO and founder. What branch of service were you in?
U.S. Army.
Okay. What was your rank?
Made to Spec 4.
And where did you serve?
Fort Jackson, basic training, AIT in Fort Benning, and I stayed at Fort Benning till I was sent to Vietnam.
Okay. Were you drafted or enlisted?
I was drafted. They drafted with the assistance of the FBI.
What?
I was drafted with the FBI encouragement.
Okay.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
It means that they came looking for me. The FBI did, because I went to school in Atlanta, Morehouse, for a year.
Mm-hmm.
And when I returned from Atlanta, all my draft notices went to Atlanta instead of coming to my hometown, which is Titusville, Florida.
Oh, okay.
So it was about, maybe a few months, and I didn't report. So the FBI came, two guys in suits came and said, yes, you need to report. So okay. I reported. That was in, I think, November '63, I believe.
Okay, which I think you probably stated already, but tell me, where were you living at the time?
At the time, I was living in Titusville,
okay,
which is where I grew up.
Did you have a choice for your service branch?
No. Did I show up or go to jail? So
you couldn't have gone to another branch?
They didn't give me that option. They said report, because they told me to report for basic training.
Gotcha.
Well, not report for induction, rather, because I had missed the notices to show up.
Right. You recall your first days in service? What did it feel like? And tell me about your boot camp training experience. Do you remember your instructors?
Yes. Actually, my first experience, and I was drafted, I was told to report to the induction station. Me and about maybe a busload of men from Cocoa and Titusville. And some of the guys from Cocoa I knew, because just being in the same neighborhood, towns about maybe 20 miles apart. So we all went up to Jacksonville and was examined and took our first step forward. I think that was in December 15th. We took our first step forward with the oath and stuff. And then they said, okay, now it's Christmas time, so you guys have the option. You can take 2 weeks leave right now up front or go into basic training. All of us said, we want 2 weeks leave. So we took 2 weeks leave. And all of us went back home, and all of us went back 2 weeks later. Okay. And I remember some of the guys, matter of fact, all the guys from Titusville and Cocoa, well, just one guy was from Titusville. The other guys from Cocoa, Walter Allen, John Gerlitz, and another guy, we call him Catfish, were all from Merritt Island. So we all spent basic training together, essentially.
Okay.
Yeah, the fun basic training was it was interesting. I played football, basketball, I ran track, so I was a little jock. So I thoroughly enjoyed basic training. Okay. Yeah. As a matter of fact, one of my crowning achievements with basic was I scored a perfect score on the PT test. Okay. Perfect 500. So I got a little trophy at the end of the ceremony.
Mm-hmm. Where were you at for basic training?
I was Fort Jackson.
What state is that?
That's in South Carolina.
Okay.
Columbia, South Carolina. And it was good because when I finished basic, our first leave, I have family in Columbia, so I spent the weekend with my uncle and all my cousins. Right there, near base.
Mm-hmm. So you were home away from home?
Yeah, so to speak, yeah, because all my family came from Sally, which is outside of Columbia, so everybody got big to move in from the outer parts and right into Columbia. So all my family and I is in Columbia.
So, you have any memories of your instructors?
Corporal Stones, my platoon sergeant. Sergeant Barrett was the company. He was a company first sergeant. He was a little short guy, about 5'2", with heels on, and he was rough, but he was. You can tell he. I guess he was. A nice kind of rough. And I remember my friend that got Walter Allen, the guy that came up together from Cocoa. We took basic at Fort Jackson. It was about maybe seemed like 30 degrees. It was freezing cold. It's in the winter, January, and so we were out in what they call a PT pit. That's like a large pit with nothing but wood chips.
Mm-hmm.
And we were told, don't put your hands in your pocket. To keep your hands outside your pocket. So my friend Walter had his hand in his pocket, walking around like he was cold. We were from Florida, and so I'm gonna get Sergeant Barrett saw me, take his hand out of his pocket, and so he made him put all the wood chips, all his pockets, so he would remember not to put his hand in his pocket again. That was sort of humorous. He had to walk around with a whole big pocket full of wood chips.
Which wars did you serve in?
Which war?
Mm-hmm.
The Vietnam conflict, when the war's on that conflict.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Where exactly did you go?
Actually, when we got the word to going to Vietnam, well, because we sort of knew it because we spent about a year from I guess in '63 up until the time I went to Vietnam, which is I think the summer of '65, where I spent with the 11th Air Assault training the jungle warfare, just training again and training. So we pretty much knew we were going to Vietnam, just a matter of when. And so we were, after they bought the colors of the first cab back from Korea, they had a ceremony where they transferred the colors from Korea to the 11th Air Assault, and then became the first air cab. And then we were sitting we had packed up all our belongings and were sitting on our footlockers in the day room watching TV. And as soon as President Johnson said, "I'm sending my first air cab defeating the Vietnam," we got on C-130s. Well, we got on cattle cars from Fort Benning. We went to Warner Robins Air Force Base, boarded C-130s, and there. Then we stopped in Texas. No, we flew there, I think, to Oakland, Travis Air Force Base. And from there we went on into Vietnam. Did we stop at Sweet Bay, I think? Yeah, on the way inside of Sweet Bay. Another rest stop. Interesting enough, though, when we were flying over, we went south to Oakland, we were flying out at the time of the Ross riots. I think it was August of '65, I believe. Mm-hmm. And we were sitting in the, I guess like a day room, and then we could see the TV monitors, and we were watching the Ross riots, and it was interesting to say, here we are going to fight in Vietnam, and our people being, sort of beaten down in Watts. It was interesting. Mm-hmm. Sort of a conflict.
Okay.
And a little side note, even that had a little comedy, because I never forget this. As long as I live, they saw pictures of the looting, and there was this picture, like to be somebody's grandmother. They had just raided looted this furniture store, and she was out on the corner with this giant lazy boy rocker, and she had it, and like she was saying, she had like she was trying to take it, and she's saying, look around for somebody. Could somebody please help me with this rocker? And I guess she was trying to get it home, but she was out there stuck, and there were guys running by with stuff in hand, and she was just looking around for help I guess to get the rocker home. It was sort of funny. At least I thought it was funny. Yeah.
All right, do you remember arriving at your duty base?
Yeah. Matter of fact, there was no base.
Oh.
The first cab, our base camp was called On K. That's the home of the first cab. We were told we were going to land and be prepared. So we were, or we going to a hot airfield. So you had our M16, ready. So the C-130 landed, we ran. It's all right, just run out when the plane stopped, run out to the perimeter and dig in. said, "Oh man, we keep landing. They're gonna be shooting at us." So C-130s land. Everybody takes off, run to the edge, and we gently grind. Pointing out towards the edge of the field.
Mm-hmm.
There were Air Force guys, no, I guess they were Army guys, on top of tractors and I guess the thing that pull, I guess, they were on top of these little vehicles, drinking coffee. And we guys, you guys crazy, what are you doing down there? So that we were told we would be fired. That, to me, that was sort of funny. Getting off it was hot, middle of the day, running out, and just like it was a regular day, at work for the other guys.
Okay. What was your job assignment?
I was a point man for the company.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, our platoon was lead platoon, and my squad was the lead squad, and I was the point man for the squad, for the company. So I was the point man.
Did you see combat?
Hmm. Yeah.
Were there many casualties in your unit?
There were, yes, two types. I guess you can't say that we were, or either I was fortunate, but the training that we went through with the 11th Air Assault, I think it trained us for every aspect of our duty assignment in Vietnam. We got used to coming out of helicopters, when they're just coming in, we just jumped off maybe 3, 4, 5, maybe 10 feet in the air. We learned to, in the jungle when it's hot, it was hot in Georgia, that's where we took our training, and marching for hours at a time, sweltering heat, night operations, flying in and getting off at night, night patrols, and even as far as experiencing death in combat. My company, which was when we were at Fort Benning training, we were assigned to the 1st Infantry, and the 1st Division of 38th Infantry, which is known as the 11th Air Assault. And one day we had a mission to go out and regular training, get up and fly out and to an LZ, which is a landing zone. The 2 choppers loaded up and they took off, collided. 18 guys were killed, and I think there were 4 crew chiefs. I mean, 2 pilots. Well, the pilot and crew chief out of each chopper, and the other guys were out of my company, out of B and Charlie company. Interesting enough that we were told we were 1 squad per helicopter, and he said, "Okay, all right, 1st squad, you're up." So that was me. So my 1st squad went up, and we were ready to board, and for some reason said, "Okay, 1st squad, pull back. 2nd squad, you're up." So the 2nd squad went, and I never saw them again. That was it. I think it was June '65 that happened. And so in essence, so we lost at the Ad Rang. We lost 2 guys at the Ad Rang, which is a major campaign, but we lost more in training.
In training.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me about a couple of your most memorable experiences.
I guess the first one had to be, and I guess our first attack. We lost. It was at the Ad Rang, which is the 7th Cav landed on the main concentration of North Vietnamese regulars. The 5th Cav, which is what I was assigned to, we just got some. We were like on the outskirts. So when they landed that night, we heard the gunfire. And we were told to dig in because we were expected to be hit also. But then the next morning we went out on patrol and came upon, I guess, a couple. I don't know how many it was, but maybe 2 or 3. That's what was left behind because we found the camp, and my squad was the first one to go in and find the camp. Matter of fact, Yeah, my squad, because I was up on the point, we found the squad, so we called back. And Oscar Cooper, who was in my squad, he was a little gun-ho guy from Ohio.
Right.
He spotted, I guess, movement, and he went up to the foxhole. He said, "I got one," and he went over. And Oscar he pulled a grenade off, he pulled a pin, and he was going to toss it in the hole, and the guy, the North Vietnamese regular, threw out a what we call the concussion grenade, just they made a lot of noise and threw it out. When it exploded in that Cooper, I guess it sort of jarred him, and he released his grenade, and it went off. So he didn't make it out. And that was even, I guess, that, and also, I guess my most, I guess you can't say which was more memorable, because and you go back, all of them could be have the same importance. But I remember on that same day, right before we got to that camp, there was a canal. The canal maybe was about the width of this room, and there was a log across it.
That was a what?
A log, and you had to go across the log. That was the first one across. I had to be the first one across, and that log, it must have been to me like 10 miles, because the time it took to get from that side it took like forever, because it could be a perfect spot for an ambush, but I know that is be very hair raising.
Well, you were a prisoner of war?
No. I think there were too many of us to be prisoner of war. I was always with the company, and I guess if you were a pilot or of a jet plane or a helicopter pilot, your odds are better at being captured because you're out there by yourself. But I guess when you're a large company, then the risks are very low, extremely low.
Mm-hmm. Were you awarded any medals or citations?
Other than not really, just for the CIB for being an infantryman in combat. I think the division has a meritorious service award and well, not individually for the company, for the division, yes, but not individually.
And what were those awards for? Just
the CIB is what you receive when you have an MOS of 111 and you actually are in combat.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one with the bar, with the blue badge and the reef. You have to be in combat, and also infantry combat also to get a CIB. I think the other one. Oh, that's sorry. The first cab received the President's Unit citation. I guess that's a meritorious service during the conflict.
were you an officer?
No, I'm just disrespectful.
Were you injured at all?
No, I was actually when I came back from the service, and I said, "Yeah, I fell off a bar stool." No, no.
Okay.
Well, not injured, but I do have a service-related disability. But I guess you can say I have systemic heart disease, which is a byproduct of Agent Orange.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Just recently, that was just one of the conditions added to the list of disabilities, for service-connected disabilities.
Right. How did you stay in touch with your family?
I was right.
It was ongoing throughout.
Yeah, family. Yeah, it was ongoing. Yeah, even got a few care packages. Mother sent cookies and cakes and stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What was the food like in the service throughout?
To me, it was good, especially back at base.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you got out on maneuvers, you didn't get hot food that often, and when you got it, it was pretty good. But one lesson I learned is never throw away C rations, because that's what they gave us. When you go out on patrol, they give you back maybe 2 or 3 days of C rations, breakfast, lunch, dinner, just maybe 3 or 4 boxes. And I remember once I think we were training somewhere in the North or South Carolina, because we go on maneuver sometime for a week, 2 weeks at a time, and so it's okay. Today we're having hot chow being flown in.
Mm-hmm.
Normally they would come in on time, sit back and have hot chow and ice cold tea and stuff. Sometimes even they bring some beer and stuff. So we're having hot chow tonight. So it was about maybe around midday, just had lunch. So I could throw these beans away. So I threw away the can of lima beans and just threw it in the bushes. And waiting for the choppers to come in, and 4:30, no choppers. 6 o'clock, no choppers. And so 7 o'clock, I'm crawling around the bushes trying to find that can of lima beans. I hated lima beans. It was like 2 lima. They were like the size of rocks. 2 lima beans and a piece of pork. So I found it, and I ate it. So from that day on, I never threw away anything. I was waiting till I saw the hot chow, then I would throw it away.
Okay. And never jumped the gun again, huh?
No, never.
Did you have plenty of supplies?
Combat
Yeah.
Yeah. Supplies were good. I think we got. Remember now, this was the 11th Air Assault. I mean, we got everything, because this is an experimental concept. So we pretty much got everything we wanted. Yeah. Matter of fact, I think even before we went over, we got just before we went over, because we had been training with the M14, and right before we went over, they gave us a new M16s, the new weapons. So we got everything. Yeah. Except the first M16s, they were sort of fragile. So there was a lot of the bolts would flake a lot, and they would jam easily. But after about the first 2 months, we had to replace them, but they worked out eventually.
Okay. Did you feel pressure or stress?
No stress. I think most of us, we were pretty cocky. I mean, we were cocky young 22, 23, 22, 20. You were pretty cocky.
Mm-hmm.
We were invincible. All right, yeah.
Okay. What did you guys do for entertainment?
Played poker. We'd go downtown. Yeah, we played poker. I remember once we had been there for about maybe a month, 2 months.
Right.
And we were playing. But I would watch some guys. They were playing. I would watch them play. They were playing poker. I think 7-card. Was it 7-card stud? No, 7-card draw, I believe. And it was the little huddle.
Right.
And there was told us by this guy. We call him one-shot. Like he must have had an old single-shot weapon. And he would every afternoon he'd come out and fire some rounds. And he started shooting. And the guy, they finished the hand, so he can't do anything. They just finished his hand. So he must have shot about 3 or 4 times, but they finished the hand, then they got up and went and got their weapons, which is protocol. If you start shooting, take cover. This time they finished the hand first, and then they went and took cover. So guess we didn't take him very seriously.
Who started shooting?
The other guy, a sniper. They call it one-shot Charlie. So he would shoot off a round, maybe 2 or 3 rounds, and then you'd be told once you hear that first round, to take cover.
Right.
Nobody took him. They finished the hand first, and then they took cover. He can't hit anything, man. Just finished his hand first. So like I said, I think we were like invincible. Felt like we were, invincible.
Now I understand. Yeah. I got it now. Yeah. Okay. Did you see any? Did they have shows or anything? USO or whatever? Did you?
Yeah.
What did you do when you went on leave?
Can I say that on? Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, when we would go out, maybe say for a week, 2 weeks, 3 days, or just whatever operation we're out on, and you come back and say, okay, we got 2 days off. We go right downtown, because the first guy was right on case there's a little town. We'd go downtown and do what soldiers do. We drink. There were a lot of girls. We drink, have fun, take your girl, go to a little hoot, do what you have to do. There was this place called the Far West,
Uh-huh.
and you go into it, and if you look around and you're back in the States. Johnny Walker Red, Curtis Sock, Coca-Cola, and they were playing the Temptations, So you're back in the States. So that was our little escape back to the States. Yeah, it was a cool place. Yeah.
Home away from home.
Yeah. Once we did, they gave me I think a 2-day pass to go to Latrang because we had we had a night mission, and they put Charlie Company was up front, which is my company, and they put my platoon. I was on the point. It was a night, so I led the the company for about I don't know how long, but we had to march all night. So I was at the point, and so they gave me a 3-day pass for not leading me to an ambush, I guess. So they gave me 3 days. That's where I saw Mary Martin.
Really?
Yeah. I have some pictures of her on the stage,
Right.
Yeah, so
Did you take those photos?
Yeah, I took quite a few shots. I remember I took my camera with me. I took shots when I was back at Fort Benning. Had some shots of the guys.
Right.
Had some shots from basic training.
Mm-hmm.
Had some shots from Vietnam. Yeah, I took stuff. Yeah. Even had some signed autographs of who now. Because when I came back, I went to Latimer General Hospital. Had malaria, and let's see, not Mary Martin. Steve Allen, I have autographed pictures of him. What's his wife's name? Jane Meadows.
Okay.
And I even got a picture of, she's here now, what's her name? She's at NASA. She's here in the West Palm Beach now. It'll come to me later on. I don't think of her name, but she's here.
Is she black or white?
She's white. Yeah. She does a lot of stuff with veterans now.
Chris Noel?
Chris Noel, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, she's about, what, maybe 22, 23, yeah.
Then?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, again, how many different places did you travel? Throughout?
Actually, that was it. Fort Jackson, Fort Benning, all the foothills of around Fort Stewart.
Where's Fort Stewart at?
That's somewhere in South Georgia, North Florida, South Georgia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for maneuvers. Fort Bragg, right outside of Fort Campbell. We used to practice, against the airborne. They would be the aggressor, so we'd out in the hills of North Carolina. That's it. On the way we stopped in Japan coming back.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was a Yokota Air Force Base. I think that's in Tashikawa, Japan. Anyway, we stopped there on our way back, and I almost got in a fight with some Air Force guys. So we went downtown. Army guys. We went downtown. It was a little, I guess it was a large bar, and I guess the Air Force, so they were like, I guess they had ruled the area because they were just Air Force guys. Right. Until the first cav came in. We came in and took all the girls, so they were a little upset, but they couldn't do anything. They were outnumbered, so that was it. Japan. I think we stopped there in Hawaii on Iowa, so that was it. Okay. During my service, that was bad, but after the service, I did do a lot of traveling on my own. But service is just states and in Vietnam.
Okay. Okay. Do you recall any particularly humorous or unusual events?
Humorous events. Other than the lady with the chair at Watts.
What was that, lady in the? What was that?
One had a big chair and didn't know where to go with it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right,
yeah. Okay.
Oh yes. Yeah, what we used to do, we would in basic training, not basic training. I mean, we had finished AIT. We were back at Fort Benning, and I think we had just finished a big training exercise, and the NCOs, they gave us all a party,
Right.
and they had beer and stuff, and so our platoon sergeant, Sergeant Handshoe, yeah. No, he was okay, but he was getting a little. He would get in. A couple of guys didn't like him that well, so then he would be known. He would like kick back when you finish. When we got dismissed for the day, he would go to the NCO club at 5 o'clock. He would leave. Like you go if we finished. We finished say at 4:30. We were dismissed. He would go to the NCO club. He would leave when it closed.
Right.
He would fall back to the barracks. You would hear him coming because he would fall every 2 feet. So then, during this little party, a couple of enlisted guys, they got into it, and he threatened to punch him out. So they said, "Let's go down and to where we were in the party." So then they punched him out. He agreed to fight them, and he lost the battle because he had been drinking, but he lost the battle because all of them had been drinking.
Right.
So that was interesting to see the enlisted guys punch out the sergeant. It was fun. I just watched,
Right.
Yeah. And what else did we do? Well, there was some guys there was one particular guy who was we called him Speed because he's kind of slow, so we called him Speed. And we were out at night. We would you go out and set up a perimeter.
Right.
And so we knew where Speed was. So what we would, I just, what me and this guy named Cooper, one that was he was in my squad. We would say we were in the, I think Merchant was in the second or third squad. So Cooper and we crawled, must be like for maybe 60 yards at night. To Speed's foxhole. And we jumped in and screamed, and the poor fella, he just shot straight up out of that foxhole, and he panicked because he thought he was being attacked, So to us it was funny. To the platoon sergeant, it wasn't that funny, but we thought it was. To crawl up somebody's neck, because he was sitting out. He was first of all he was. I don't think he was armored material, but at that time they were drafting everyone. So we thought it was funny,
Okay. What did you think of your officers and fellow soldiers?
We had, I liked all the guys, because matter of fact, we had spent all of our military career together. I really liked the guys. I still keep in touch with the guy that's in my squad. Well, yeah, Joe Ersman, he's in Hilton Head. I see him at least once or twice a year if I go to Hilton. And we call each other maybe about once or twice a year. Another guy named James Du Bois, we went to basic training together. AIT, Vietnam. Joe Ersman and Walter Allen, the guy that got drafted together. We spent our entire career together. Basic training, AIT, Air Assault, Vietnam, and matter of fact, mostly out of my company, came back to Oakland to be discharged. We all got sick with malaria and spent about 6 months in hospital together. So then that's a pretty unique group of guys.
Right.
Yeah. And as a matter of fact, most of the guys who were at Kelly Hill, that's where 11th Out trained, even though if they were in like Alpha Company, Bravo Company, D Company, we've all set up on a quadrille. And when I go to the reunions, I still meet guys who were in Alpha Company, but we just knew each other from just passing. But we all were in the same battalion, but we knew each other just by passing. So then, even the guys who were not in my company, we still knew each other.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Do you recall the day when your service ended? The end of days, you know what I mean? When you were getting out?
Yeah.
What was that all about? Where were you?
I was in Oakland. I was at Letterman General Hospital. I remember because the commander, I guess he was commander, the guy in charge of the hospital, wanted to give me some leave time.
Mm-hmm.
And so he had to write the state health department in Florida.
Right.
To see if the mosquito, if the mosquito population was under control, because he didn't want me to come out the hospital and get malaria again.
Mm-hmm.
So before I could come home on medical leave, he had to make sure that there was not a malaria problem in Florida.
Uh-huh.
And so I came home for 2 weeks leave, and caught a military hop out of Oakland to Texas someplace, then from Texas on into Cape Canaveral,
Right.
which is next to my home.
Mm-hmm.
Stayed for 2 weeks, and then got home. Went to Canaveral and went back to Letterman, and 2 weeks later I got discharged. And I would get him a little paper and stuff, and put on my uniform and fly home. Once again, by a military hop, I came home.
So what did you do in the days and weeks after you got out of the service?
Walked around and played the hero role. No, actually, as a matter of fact, I didn't. I went to, I think they invited me back to the school to talk to...
Morehouse?
No, to my high school. I went back to my hometown in Titusville.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I went back and, I think 2 times I went to the school, and they asked me how it was and so forth. That was it. And what else did I do? Then I just took about 2 weeks off. Not 2 weeks, 2 months off, 3 months off. I just didn't do anything to kick back. Went out late at night, stayed about 2 or 3 o'clock. Went home, slept about 1 or 2 in the evening, and went out. I had some friends who had a restaurant. They had a restaurant. I had to go eat breakfast and start all over again. I'll be going home. People be going to work. So. Then that got kind of boring, so I then went back to school with A&M, finished.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What'd you major in?
Psychology, social work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. And so, did you use your GI Bill for school?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Godsend, yeah.
All right. So what kind of career did you wind up in?
Actually, when I finished at A&M, I came here to Florida. I applied for this, became a social worker for, I guess, the old DCF. I started out, I guess, doing community service work in Belgrade with the migrants.
Really?
And worked there for about 2.5, maybe 3 years, 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to drive out in that little Volkswagen every day to the Glades, me and the cane trucks. It was interesting. But I really enjoyed the Glades area. Really, yeah, great experience. And then once they had staff that lived in the Glades, then I transferred back here to West Palm Beach. And then I worked a little bit in juvenile, the juvenile detention, in intake counts with juveniles. And probation for a while. Then I went to, they formed the Child Abuse Registry.
Mm-hmm.
And then that was became a child abuse investigator. I did that for about 24, 25 years. In my last 5 years, I did foster care work.
Okay.
It was interesting.
Did you make any close friendships while in the service? Do you continue those relationships?
Yes, I think James Du Bois, who I guess, like I said, we started out, we went to basic training together. I think it was a pretty close-knit group. The owner ended up, I've lost contact with a couple of guys, but James, I see James about once every year, because if I go to the reunions, but we call each other at least once or twice a year. Same for Joe Esmond, we're good friends. Yeah.
Okay. You belong to Veterans Organization, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Which
Yeah.
one?
Vietnam Vets of America, Friends of Veterans, Combat Infantry Association, American Legion Post, but most actually with the Vietnam Vets of America and Friends of Veterans, those two.
Okay.
Yeah. And just recently the Veterans Court.
Mm-hmm. You go to reunions?
Mm-hmm. The first CAV, yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, it's interesting because they have they have the division reunion, which is for everybody's in the division.
Right.
Then they have the battalion reunion,
Right.
and then they have the company reunion, which is everybody's is in Charlie Company. It's interesting because I think I guess there are two Charlie Companies. There's the original Charlie Company, which is the guys who, like myself, James Du Bois, who were the first guys who left, who met in basic training and then went to Fort Benning.
Right.
And with the level there, so that's the original Charlie Company. And then you have the company that was our replacements, you know. So because I think James Du Bois said he went to one reunion, and all the guys that were there are the ones that came after us. So then we don't consider them as being real Charlie Company. They were wannabes.
Okay.
We're the original Charlie Company. But the thing that we do have in every reunion, we have one. I think this in November. It's at it's held in D.C. and it's the first CAV reunion. That also then they have the I-Drain dinner for all the guys who went to I-Drain.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we do is that we go. They call out. You stand up and you say, you you state your name and your rank, because that's all the guys who went to I-Drain. So and each year, because the number's getting smaller and smaller, it's sort of a moving ceremony.
Did your military experience influence your thinking about war or about the military in general?
No, not really. Because I was always sort of pro-military. Because my uncle was a Marine. As a matter of fact, I almost joined the Marines. Almost. But I thought the uniforms were so cool, man. Yeah, I want to be a Marine. But I think the only thing stopped that was when I got drafted. And my I guess so. He's like my cousin, but he not like another uncle. But he was in the Navy. So, because we think all of us had military, and I have a cousin my age who was a career soldier.
Right.
And he retired about 5 years ago. And my younger brother was also in Vietnam. So there were a lot of guys. Most of the males in my family were service. So it didn't change my attitude about the military. I think right now when we have a reunion, most of the guys say if we could, we'd do it again if we got drafted.
Right.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. So just as we're getting ready to close, how did your service and experiences affect your life?
I guess it made me a little more confident in my own ability, in my own self, and what I could do. And it didn't make me fearless, but it made me just it didn't make me. I guess in essence it did. Maybe because I had been places and seen things, and really didn't. I don't think things bother me as much as it bothers other people. Maybe it gave me a maybe more callous attitude toward life. I guess when you've been in combat, you've seen so much, so you've thought about become sort of hardened in conditions. So I guess it made me not weepy. Just life, and take life as it comes.
Is there anything you'd like to add that we have not covered in the interview?
No, except that personally, for me, I thoroughly enjoyed being a soldier. And That's why I think I love to wear my the hat that if you ever does that, the eye ring, the initial eye ring when they made the movie, they had most of the they had Randall Wallace, who was the director, and some of the other actors came up, and we got just gave us the caps that say we were soldiers.
What movie?
We Were Soldiers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that movie. Yeah. And I have 2 caps, and I would like to wear that. We Were Soldiers. I think in essence I'm still a soldier. I think you're always a. So like when you're a Marine, you're always a Marine.
Mm-hmm.
And I think because maybe just because I was in the first cap, then you're always a soldier.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's what I feel.
Okay. All right. Well, we want to thank you very much for your time.
Okay.
Thank you
Enjoyed
for
it.
giving us the interview.
Hope my voice maintain a